What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Brinson. I'm your host. It is Tuesday, August 30th, and it's Cut Day in the NFL. We're live with the Cut Day reaction show, which means that you're watching it at 4 p.m.-ish, 4:15-ish on Tuesday. If you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/pick6, and you're probably listening to it, or the audio version will come out on Tuesday because we're not going to hold it for Wednesday, but it could very well be the following day. Joining me to break down all the notable cuts, the trades, the moves, the roster machinations from a fascinating day in the NFL. Ryan Wilson and John Breech. What's up, boys?
Breech, he just said Rasta machinations, like he's really into Rastafarian music all of a sudden.
You know what? I don't doubt it with Brinson. He's a Renaissance man.
It's true. I do. I mean, do you know about
Bob Marley? Yes, he's awesome.
No, do you know about
the whole culture of Jamaica? Yes.
Do you know about Among Us?
Great island.
Among Us, the video game?
Yeah.
I know my kids used to play it. I think is it over now?
No, it's still going. What do you call a
You call him the bad guy, the perp. I don't remember.
I was going to make an impasta joke.
Yeah, boy. Yeah.
I'm glad that one didn't work out.
Yeah,
as am I.
Really didn't work out.
We would have taken your title of Renaissance man away, Brinson. You would only had it for 18 seconds.
My voice is back, which is nice. It was gone.
Yeah,
we were literally just having a conversation about how some people think this podcast is terrible, and you're trying to tell an impossible joke, only reinforcing their
impasta joke.
Impasta joke.
Not an imposter, impasta.
Imposter. That's what it was called. All right, let's go. Enough with this.
Football season is almost here in CBS Sports. Football Pick'em is the best way to step up the competition and fun. Run a custom picks or survivor pool with friends and enter our CBS Sports Challenge for the chance to win guaranteed weekly and season-long prizes plus the $100,000 jackpot. Get started now at cbssports.com/play or from the More menu of the CBS Sports app. Once again, that's cbssports.com/play or on the CBS Sports app. No purchase necessary. See rules for details. Man, I'm glad that promo read reminds me that I've got to get this get the invite back out for my picks pool that I run every year. Mr. Masterlock. Pretty good name, huh?
What's it called?
You
Mr. Masterlock.
Mr. Masterlock. No, I don't love that one. There's one you came out with regarding clowns that was pretty good. What's that thing you said you invented about clowns?
Well, no, the name of the pool was just Mr. Masterlock.
You invented clowns?
No, I called Pete Prisco and Nick Costos surface level clowns.
That's great. You probably didn't come up with that, but I'll give you credit for it since I don't know who originally did.
The Mr. Master on the fly. I just said you guys are a bunch of surface level clowns.
That's great. That I like. That should be the name of everything that you do going forward. That should be the name.
Well, I know, but that makes it sound like I'm the surface level clown.
All right.
All right, we're gonna rip through a bunch of different news. It's weird how the NFL cut process has changed a lot because teams, and this is why there's more trades, right? There's a lot more roster flexibility. There's a lot more salary cap space. Teams are a lot less likely to move off of bigger name guys with bigger cap hits because they can either trade them or they can, you know what I mean? There's just not like, you don't see the names cut that you used to, but certainly there are always some notable highlights.
Also worth noting, when they used to have the 4-week preseason, this used to happen right around Labor Day, I believe.
Saturday of Labor Day.
Yeah.
You'd be playing soccer.
That's exactly right. Because I'd be traveling, checking my phone, and
Wilson would be on his camping trip.
Yes.
No, I would be going to Asheville, North Carolina. Brinson was right. But anyway, the point is that it's changed.
But I think a few years back, even before they shortened the preseason, they moved it to the Friday before Labor Day, maybe?
It's been Tuesday since last year.
Oh, it's
before that.
It just started last year?
Yeah.
So, yeah, then it was on a Saturday. So, yeah, things are changing. It sort of feels like it started to leak out more, and much the same with the free agency sort of changed because they have the soft window or whatever it's called. Just because teams want to get it over with before the official 4 p.m. deadline on Tuesday. So we've seen some names trickle down, and now it's official. The other thing I want to say quickly is that you might be excited that your favorite player made the bottom of your team's roster. They might end up getting cut once they sign another player from a team that just also got cut.
Yeah, and the other thing about the Saturday, the previous way they used to do it, like I remember when we started at CBS, it was like teams would just do all the work on Saturday. Like they wouldn't even mess around. And they started getting a little more aggressive about getting the cuts done by like Thursday or Friday, getting the rosters ready.
Because the final week 4 game, they used to be all on Thursday at 8 p.m. or whatever, I think, right?
Right. And then Saturday, as the guy who ran the cuts tracker like 6 years in a row when the cuts were on Saturday, so I have to work on Saturday, you would have teams just totally ignore the 4 p.m. deadline because it was a Saturday. It was like, whatever. So you have like the Raiders, the Cardinals, these teams literally every year would send in their final cuts at like 9 p.m. I mean, I'm sure they finalized it at 4 to
because you didn't have to. In fact, you didn't even have to do it till Tuesday at 4 p.m. The next official league day, like the business day, because you'd have Labor Day on Monday. And so Tuesday at 4 p.m. was the actual official deadline. So I think that's why they probably part. I mean, obviously there's no fourth preseason game now, which I like this setup a lot better, and not just for selfish personal reasons.
Given that Deontay Johnson and TJ Watt both got hurt in the last week 3 preseason game, I'm also in favor of fewer preseason games. Also in favor of not playing the best players on your team, but that's another conversation.
How about one preseason game?
Oh, we have breaking news.
Oh boy,
no. Is it legit breaking news?
For this podcast, hell yeah, it is.
Oh, please tell me we won this thing.
No,
the Bengals cut Louisville legend Jake Browning.
And
get out of here.
Eagles are cutting LSU legend Joe Burrow. Just kidding. The Seahawks are cutting
Drew Lock.
Whiteside.
No!
Oh
no!
I hope he lands on his feet.
Whiteside, of course, traded from the Eagles to the Seahawks. Shout out to super acquaintance. Sully made that up yesterday. Super acquaintance Josh Edwards in the chat for noting that the Seahawks are
super acquaintance. What a slap in the face.
I said this on Sully. I was like, he's getting like pretty super frenzy. He's like, maybe I'm just a super acquaintance. I was like, all right.
That could actually be a badge of honor.
Super friends with benefits?
No, that's your podcast.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the cuts. And we didn't talk about this. Did you guys talk about this
Friday? We did a mailbag.
But the Jimmy G restructured contract, I think
hadn't happened yet.
Oh yeah, that's right. It happened.
We didn't have a time machine at that point.
It happened on Sunday or Monday?
We had one. We just didn't want to use it on football.
It happened on Monday because I got an ask from CBS Sports HQ to do a hit on Jimmy G. I was at a JV soccer game and I politely declined.
So Jimmy G had his contract restructured by the 49ers. He agreed to a restructure. He is, as Kyle Shanahan noted, we have a starting quarterback as a backup. There's no way that's bad for our team. He is the he's the QB2 for the 49ers. It's crazy how quickly this twisted. He was just going to be cut. He was going to be gone. The 49ers have said emphatically that Trey Lance is their starting quarterback. And Kyle Shanahan also said, like this was a case of, oh my God, Jimmy Garoppolo is available as a backup quarterback, and that makes sense for him, and that makes sense for us. What else is there to think about? We have a starting quarterback as a backup. The rest of the league had a chance to get him. I feel so fortunate that they didn't. There's no way that's bad for our team. What do we make of? I mean, like Jimmy G sticking with the 49ers. I think this is the best case scenario for the 49ers. I thought they should have done this all along. The only other team that could have traded for with his current salary was the Browns.
Well, they need him, but they didn't do it.
Yes, that's right. And it was widely believed that the Seahawks would at least be interested in signing Jimmy Garoppolo if he was cut, which was expected to be the case. I think that played into the 49ers being willing to figure out a way to restructure this deal and keep him there, right?
I think this says a whole bunch that I will see what Breech has to say, that you're not full on conspiracy theory about Trey Lance. I think that's the situation. Look, if John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan can put up with having to explain why they traded up to number 3 and took Trey Lance and set him on the bench for a year, they can certainly handle having to talk about why they restructured Jimmy G. I'm not a huge Jimmy G guy. I'm on record as saying that he's probably better than I give him credit for, but I think you're rolling with Trey Lance this whole entire year unless Trey Lance happens to get hurt. That would be unfortunate, but I think that's reality. Also, and I don't know if you want to get to it or not, but either way, they released Nate Sudfeld and they kept Brock Purdy, their 7th round pick out of Iowa State. Brock Purdy actually played really well. I
think Brock Purdy was in definitely a few like way too early mock draft first rounds.
Absolutely. Not last year, the year before, but he went back. And then as Todd Furman, our gambling expert, noted during the week 3 preseason games, he said Brock Purdy's played better in the preseason than he played the last 2 years at Iowa State. And that's the truth. So that's also interesting, and that's just insurance behind Trey Lance again. Should he, for any reason, have to miss any football games, it won't be because Trey Lance could throw 5 interceptions the first 3 games, and he's still playing in Week 4. I don't think this
is
means
he?
anything. Yeah, he is.
If they lose to the Chicago Bears and the Seattle Seahawks,
I just said they lose. You can still 5 interceptions, still beat the Bears.
that's a lot of interceptions to not lose.
He's not going to throw 15
I would say
interceptions.
Brinson said the 49ers are winners here, and that I absolutely agree with. I think the losers are Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance.
Why is Trey Lance a loser?
Trey Lance is a loser because as soon as if the 49ers get off to a rough start, if he has this 5 interception game you just mentioned, Wilson, all that you're going to hear about are 49ers fans saying, why aren't we playing the guy who got us to the NFC title game last year? If you go in to this Monday night game in Week 4 against the Rams and you're 1-2, Trey Lance will get booed at home if he's having these 5 interception games. And that's not.
Isn't Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, aren't they more than most GMs and coaches impervious to that kind of chit chat, given the fact
but is Trey Lance impervious to that? That's fine if they are, but I'm saying that he's going to be looking over his shoulder anytime if there's a bad game. If they don't come out of the gate on fire, it's just going to be, why aren't we playing Jimmy Garoppolo? It just sets up a quarterback controversy. And look, you can say, oh, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch can handle it, but they're not the ones on the field actually playing the football. And if Trey Lance, if there's any doubt about Trey Lance in the organization or with the coach, what if that plays in the part why they wanted to keep Jimmy Garoppolo? This is only going to add to it. So I think Trey Lance, this is a bad deal for Trey Lance. And if you're Jimmy Garoppolo, it's a bad deal because you have to think, I don't know how they talked him into taking an $18 million pay cut, first of all. And I just think that if you're Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe they said, here's your no trade clause. You can basically pick where you go if we deal you before the deadline. And if you play, you'll get, up to $16 million, but otherwise just chill with us for another year.
Dude, let me ask you this. I think actually I don't disagree with what you're saying. They're not going to start 1-2. That schedule is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they do, because of the bad teams they play on the front end, if you lose to the Bears or the Seahawks, the bells are going to start ringing right away.
Yeah. If you lose at Chicago, there will definitely be.
But let me ask this though. Is there support among 49ers fans for Jimmy G? Because I don't feel like he's the backup that you're pining for. Or maybe I'm reading the room wrong.
I think you're reading the room wrong.
Really? There are 49ers fans that'd rather have Jimmy G than Trey Lance?
I'm on Twitter. I'm not saying it's completely pro Trey Lance. You know who does want?
All right. Let's hold the phone here. I mean, the idea that they're going to start out 1-1 is not insane. I mean, those teams, we don't think the Bears or Seahawks are great, but Seattle could beat. I mean, it's at Chicago. Weirder things have happened in Week 1, and the Seahawks are a division rival. I mean, like that's not crazy. Now, given that they're at Denver and then have the Rams at home in the next 2 weeks, that's you really do need to start 2-0. I think this is more about the idea. I'm trying to read between the lines here with what Kyle Shanahan is saying. He said, was asked why they tried to trade Garoppolo if he was such an asset. And I'm reading Eric.
I was wondering where you're going with the last half of that word.
The coach then threw some shade at the league's other 31 teams with their inertia. The rest of the league had a chance to get him, Shanahan said. I sort of get the sense, and maybe I'm wrong, but that Trey Lance, getting Trey Lance, I think that Kyle Shanahan loves Trey Lance, but I think that getting Trey Lance may have been more of a sorry, I can't remember the GM.
John Lynch.
John Lynch, thank you. Good Lord. I blacked out and couldn't remember John Lynch's name for a second. But I'm wondering if it's is it more of a John Lynch thing and the idea that, or at least maybe the idea that getting rid of Jimmy to help Trey start was maybe a John Lynch thing. And Kyle Shanahan likes the idea of having Jimmy as a safety net. But because John Lynch wants to give Trey Lance the freedom to be the guy without someone behind him, they tried to trade him. And Kyle Shanahan was fine, sort of not pushing the trade, not aggressively helping to move along the trade. Does that, what I'm saying? This is what Kyle Shanahan wants to have.
I think this is a function of not a good enough offer in the trade market, and I wanted to cut him and see him going to Seattle. I think that's it. I don't think I'm not going to overthink it. I think Trey Lance is his guy. Trey Lance didn't play great in the final preseason opportunity that he had. I don't think that matters. And I think a lot has to go wrong if Trey Lance is in perfect health for him not to be on the field all season.
Well, I think your first part of that, Ryan, it feels like the the teams that need a quarterback were basically playing a game of chicken with the 49ers.
Right.
Like, why are we going to give you anything for Jimmy Garoppolo when you're just going to have to cut him? So they were basically daring the 49ers to cut him. And then the 49ers were at the end like, joke's on you. We're not cutting him. We're restructuring his contract, keeping him. You don't get him, Seattle. You don't get him, Cleveland. We get him. And he's not even going to start for us. He's going to sit on the bench.
Well, I think there's also something to the fact that if you're Jimmy Garoppolo, you're looking around the league at possible destinations, right? So they give you this, they obviously give you this no trade clause. You can say, I don't want to go there. Like they can't just ship you to the Panthers without your blessing. You're likely two destinations you were going to before you reworked the contract were Seattle as a free agent or Cleveland via trade. And I don't know. I mean, not particularly appealing options. You know, if you go to Seattle, you're battling with, Drew Lock and Geno Smith, and you're on this Pete Carroll offense that who knows how many times you're going to throw per game. And if you go to Cleveland, you're only the starter if you beat out Jacoby Brissett for 11 games, and then Deshaun Watson takes over, and then maybe it makes more sense for him to remain an asset on the bench with a chance to win with his teammates that he loves. He's still getting paid good money. And there's probably a decent chance he'll end up playing some, whether it's via injury or maybe Trey Lance struggles or whatever. We see backup quarterbacks. I mean, how often, like, what percentage of time does the backup quarterbacks play a lot in the NFL? It wouldn't be surprising at all to see Jimmy Garoppolo play, not even because Trey Lance isn't good, but because Trey Lance gets hurt because he runs the ball a bunch. And
what if Trey Lance stays healthy? How many games does Jimmy Garoppolo play?
Under 3
player start.
Way under 3.
I would take the under.
There's no way he plays 3 games. None.
I think Trey Lance is going to be good.
Even if he's average. This is the Tua Tagovailoa thing that we've talked about, or the Kenny Pickett thing. You don't want to be jerking him in and out of the lineup. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Sue asked if Lance doesn't work out, who's in the firing line? Lynch, Collins up in Miami / Cowboys, etc. I don't think that Trey Lance. Trey Lance would have to be really, really, really bad for anybody to get fired for this season. I think that's the other thing too, is like if Trey Lance doesn't work out and Jimmy can step in and you're still a playoff team, like nobody's getting fired for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that means handing the reins over to Jimmy mid-season. If you're talking about he's so bad that Jimmy makes you a playoff team and Trey Lance doesn't, you've got to be able to yank him earlier than you'd probably like.
Yes, Jimmy G is evil, sexy Andy Dalton.
I mean, I don't think it's
evil, sexy Kirk Cousins.
I don't think it's a wonderful. I don't know what the word I'm looking for. I don't think it speaks well of the evaluation process if you're the coach and the GM. If you get to the playoffs with Jimmy Garoppolo and just blow through the third overall pick, the first round pick you had to give up.
It does not.
That is a Kyler Murray type situation. And while Kyler has a new deal, it ain't like the Cardinals are setting the world on fire.
Or a Josh Rosen situation.
Well,
you made the right call, but I mean, he also made the wrong call.
Right. That's part of the.
I'm confident in Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance will be fine.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine too. He hasn't played a lot of football, so we have no idea. He might be terrible. He might
gets hurt, and they have a really good roster, and they believe that they can make a Super Bowl run.
But where do you draw the line with that good roster? If this is your Super Bowl window, and you are putting it in Trey Lance's hands, and
they went to one Super Bowl and almost went to another one with Jimmy Garoppolo. It ain't like Jimmy Garoppolo's Joe Montana. I don't understand why.
What does their record have to be? Like,
that's what I'm asking. That's what I was about to ask you. That is what I was about to ask.
It's week 9. They're on their bye. They're at Chicago.
3-5. They're 3-5. And
if they're 3-5 and they have Chicago, Seattle, Carolina, Atlanta on the schedule,
well, I was looking at the Broncos, completely possible they lose that. Rams, completely possible they lose that. They play the Rams twice. And they play the Chiefs, completely possible they lose that. So that's 4 losses. And then one of those 4 other games that they should win, they lose. Just one of them, you're 3-5. It's at least plausible.
It's not outrageous. I would be pretty surprised if they didn't split with the Rams. I mean, Kyle Shanahan's done a good job against Sean McVay. They're home against Kansas City. And Denver.
But it's hypothetical. We're saying they are 3-5. Are you? And Trey Lance threw multiple interceptions in 2 of those 5 losses.
No, he's still playing.
No.
When are you gonna see what you have in him? He's the 3rd overall pick. Usually these guys play in year 1.
But are you willing to take the chance to throw away an entire season?
Jimmy
Are
Garoppolo.
they
Wouldn't
3 and 5?
say-
Are they 3 and 5 because of Trey Lance or because of the schedule?
That's they'll have to decide that.
Here's the thing: Jimmy Garoppolo ain't walking through that door. To quote Rick Pitino,
Because they were 2 and 3 going to the bye, and they stuck with Jimmy.
You know what I wanted to happen with Jimmy Garoppolo? I wanted him to go to Cleveland, play the first 11 games, and go 10-1.
The only loss coming to the Steelers.
Well, to the Bengals, but same.
All right, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about all the other cuts and moves that happened on Tuesday. Next. So I was called the Oakland Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders waived 2021 first-round pick Alex Leatherwood. That is not great for an indictment of further indictment of John Gruden and Mike Mayock's time.
If you're Mike Mayock, I don't know if he's on Twitter or not. Do you come out on some form of social media and say I had nothing to do with these picks? This is all John Gruden's doing, because that would be hilarious.
They have 5 first-round picks. Here we go. Perfect. 6 first-round picks, excuse me, since 2019 when they had 3 first-round picks. 2021 was Alex Leatherwood. He was just cut by the new regime, Josh McDaniels. 2020 first-round pick Henry Ruggs, of course, involved in a horrific tragic accident. In jail, obviously cut. 2020 first-round pick David Arnett, cut. And all 3 of the fifth-year options for Clelin Ferrell, Josh Jacobs, and Jonathan Abram have been declined. I mean, and these are pretty high picks. These are opportunities. Like, if you hit on those 6 picks, your team is probably really good right now. And man, they're
good anyway. But yes, I take your point. All right, let's play this game, which I love to play. So 3 first-round picks. Let's see who they could have had. I'll do it quickly.
Yeah,
this stupid thing will load.
Okay.
All right, so Clelin Ferrell was 4th.
I mean, Josh Allen's the obvious answer there, or Devin White.
God, Josh Allen went 7th. Okay, so you get Josh Allen, and then
it was like they need a pass rusher or a linebacker. They're either taking Josh Allen or Devin White, and they took Cleveland.
And then when was Jonathan Abram was 27th? Josh Jacobs was 24th. So Josh Jacobs 24th. You could have had. Well, there's not a lot behind him in the first round. Second round, they could have had Deebo Samuel.
I mean, they could have had any one of those wide receivers: Deebo Samuel, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown.
All right, so AJ Brown. So let's say AJ Brown, Deebo, and then
So I would say you go Josh Allen, Deebo, and then
Wait, are we talking about Josh Jacobs, or are all the picks they could have had in
all the picks they
2019?
could have had after the players available after they made the original selections.
Oh my God.
J.J. Arcega-Whiteside would be an option.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I'm trying to think. Like, I think you have to kind of replace it with something similar. Like, you don't replace Jonathan Abram with a running back per se. I used to go Miles Sanders.
I mean, you just take the best players. Why not? Yeah, I'm fine with that. Like, Marquise Blair's afterwards, but he's about to get cut if he hasn't gotten cut
David
already.
Montgomery instead of Josh Jacobs.
Juan Thornhill's played pretty well, but he's not a difference maker. I would just take
David Montgomery makes sense.
Okay, yeah, Dave Montgomery.
We'll just replace it with the next person the next player drafted that position, right?
Yeah, but the problem with that is it might not be till 3 rounds later, like David Montgomery, and you could have made your team better with Deebo or AJ.
Well, I mean,
Brown.
Miles Sanders is the next running back. So
I'd rather have Deebo Samuel. Is my point, or I'm just
sure.
So all right, that's 2019. 2020 is that just that's okay?
I mean, they took Ruggs over Jerry Jeudy and
CeeDee Lamb
and
Jalen Reagor,
Justin Jefferson. I mean, CeeDee Lamb is the obvious answer. Like, that was
no. I think you take Justin Jefferson.
Okay, either Justin Jefferson. Okay, no one would have been surprised if they took Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb instead of Henry Ruggs.
Prisco heard late in the process that Henry Ruggs might be the first wide receiver taken because of the speed.
And I say you're stupid. They should take CeeDee Lamb,
Which is a classic Raiders move. You see their 40 time, you're like, I'm drafting them.
So was that the only? What was the other pick in the first round?
They also had David Arnett in that draft.
Oh God!
I mean,
the next cornerback taken was
Noah Higgins,
Higgins, then Jeff Gladney.
Gladney's been cut because he had some trouble. They could. I mean, this is when you get your running back. You got Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Oh,
Michael Pittman.
Antoine Winfield. Maybe this is when you get your safety. I mean,
there you go.
And so I mean, even looking at these picks, because we were questioning these at the time. This was like
everyone was like, "What are you doing?"
It was like, who's in charge there? Is it Mayock or Gruden? And Gruden, pretty sure, had final say.
I mean, the 2019 draft, it was like, oh my God, you had 3 first-round picks and you didn't do a good job. How do you do that? Like, you had a 10% of the first round and you did a bad job. And then 2020, 2021, Alex Leatherwood.
They could have had Christian Darrisaw at 23, or if they wanted to draft another position. Rashad Bateman. Let's see. Eric Stokes, who's played well, outplayed Jason Oweh, Adafe Oweh.
I mean,
Elijah
nobody
Moore.
thought they should take Alex Leatherwood there.
Elijah Moore. No, absolutely not. Even Javon Holland getting to the second
Hunter
round,
Williams.
just another safety. Yeah, so they literally took the worst possible worst case scenario in every pick except the Henry Ruggs one, who turned out well, but obviously had the off field.
No. I mean, they should not have taken Ruggs. They should have taken CeeDee Lamb.
That's the least egregious of the on field productivity picks.
Okay.
But yes, you take Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb.
So we're saying, I mean, if you want to give them the picks, you say they could have had Josh Allen.
Oh boy.
Who's the next one? Let's say Josh Allen, Deebo Samuel, and
I'm taking AJ Brown, but you can take David Montgomery.
and Byron Murphy. How about that?
Byron Murphy's fine, but
I'm sort of going through like the next closest like similar thing.
I know.
So you got Josh Allen,
Deebo and Byron.
and Byron, and then you come back with CeeDee Lamb. You're just absolutely loaded at this point.
Yeah.
You can't even trade for Devontae Adams because you're so loaded.
There's no need.
Then
I said Jonathan Taylor.
Yep. It's just
And
freaking.
And then the other one, you take Christian Darrisaw instead of Alex Leatherwood.
And your team's just really good right now.
God, I mean that is the F- of F- multi-year draft classes.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
How do you, when you have, and maybe look, I don't know if it's Gruden's fault or not. It just sort of feels like the right thing to say, but maybe it isn't. But how do you have a room full of 50 plus evaluators, and this is the best you can do?
Yeah.
Clearly, not every one of those people felt that way, and so again, it leads one to believe that perhaps the decision was made by one person. I won't name names.
Name names, Ryan. Name all the names.
Mark Davis's dog.
Speaking of first round picks,
his name is not Nike, by the way.
Nike could be a general manager for 31 of 32 NFL teams.
Speaking of first round picks, the Eagles kept their first round pick from 2020, Jalen Reagor, the much maligned 21st overall pick, who was taken despite the fact that everyone and their brother believed Howie Roseman and the Eagles would take Justin Jefferson at 21st overall. They took Jalen Reagor. Jefferson went 22nd to the Vikings. There's a famous video of Rick Spielman and Mike Zimmer being like, "What the? They took Reagor? Oh my God, what a bunch of idiots!" And Reagor, I thought it was crazy that Reagor was going to get cut after just 2 years. Like, that's wild to me. I understand the comparison with the Jefferson thing, and there was a rumor too, by the way, that Reagor was going to get traded to Minnesota, which would have been hilarious if they sent J-Jaw to play with DK Metcalf and Reagor to play with Justin Jefferson. Just cruel.
Oh, I thought you meant Jalen Reagor for Justin Jefferson trade. That would be funny.
That would be funny. No. Like Reagor would be on the roster with Justin Jefferson, just looking at him, knowing that he's the one who mentally screwed him up.
I mean, just to be clear, Reagor would be a pretty horrible pick, even if Jefferson wasn't the direct pick behind him. But that just kind of add fuels to the fire for fans, for sure, and for critics across the NFL. But he'd be bad regardless of the picks behind him.
Well, and it was the fact that like J-Jaw, the pick was emphasized so much by DK Metcalf and AJ Brown, I guess, right?
Yeah,
it was like back-to-back years. There's an absolute horrendous whiff. I know J-Jaw was after AJ Brown. Sorry.
I mean, it's pretty wild to me that despite all those misses, they have a pretty elite wide receiving duo right now for them to get there within 2 years.
Yeah,
they're the anti-Raiders.
Trade for one of them, obviously.
I think Debo's okay with that trade.
David Blythe in the chat, Eagles fan here. I don't know if they would even put him in special teams role this year. He muffed almost a half dozen punts kicks last year. Yes, he certainly did. I would guess it's more of a Howie Roseman wants to just try and doesn't want to give up on him too early. Did the same thing with J-Jaw, right? Didn't waited 3 years, just hoping something will click. And
I mean, they switched J-Jaw to tight end, and they did everything they could with him. Like Ryan said at the top of the show, like I don't think it's any guarantee that Reagor's on the team by week 8 or week 18. But yeah, I like keeping him around for now.
I will say I liked Reagor coming out. Not better than Justin Jefferson, but I liked him. I thought he'd certainly be better than this. And I didn't hate J-Jaw, but good Lord, that it just didn't work out.
So the Eagles have AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, Jalen Reagor, Zach Pascal, John Hightower, and Britton Covey. That's a pretty good depth at wide receiver. I don't mind that. Plus, you
Got
got
rid
guys
of Olympian Devin Allen today.
Still got some speed though with Quez and Hightower.
Yeah, we're okay.
The Eagles also traded for and apparently moving to safety, cornerback or defensive back, Chauncey. Is it C.J. Gardner Johnson? Is what he's going by, or is he going by Chauncey Gardner Johnson now?
I think he was Chauncey in college and CJ now.
Okay,
I think that's right.
They got it for nothing from the Saints, Devo. You have to be pretty thrilled about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably the type of personality that will fit in Philly, like when he starts jawing at opposing receivers and offensive players, Eagles fans will eat that up. I'm sure there'll be a couple dumb penalties here and there based on his history. I mean, I've been confused over the past couple of days when you see Tart get released, Anthony Harris get released to about a month ago. I thought were going to be the Eagles starting safeties, but I still think the secondary is pretty strong, and Gardner Johnson seems like he just couldn't get a deal done with the Saints as they were talking about an extension. So that equals Eagles getting him for pretty cheap, like you said.
Yeah, and the Eagles secondary is stacked with James Bradbury, Darius Slay at corner, and it feels like Gardner Johnson is a slight risk. I mean, Debo, that's what you were talking about earlier, and you just kind of mentioned now that it literally looked like the Eagles had their two starting safeties on their roster 24 hours ago, and then everybody just up in arms like, what's going on? Why did they just cut their starting safeties? And those are the kind of crazy things that can happen on cut day. But Gardner Johnson really hasn't played a ton of safety. He's been a slot guy. So it'll be interesting to see how he does in that spot.
Yeah,
you're banking on it. You got rid of everybody else. You're saying, all right, man, this is your spot. All the pressure's on you. Please don't blow it.
I think it's fine.
Avonte Maddox slid around a little bit as a rookie, has some experience playing safety, can slide over there. Marcus Epps, the new, starting strong safety, probably in replacement of the two guys that left, but feeling good a week out.
Yeah, you should be. I mean, are the Eagles going to close as the favorites to win the division?
They are wins over Wilson. I don't know what Caesars has.
I mean, we got win totals later in the week for NFC. Cowboys are still 10.5. Eagles are at 9.5. But the way those are juiced, it's trending towards the Eagles.
We've been saying all along, all offseason.
I can't wait to hear the win totals podcast. Am I on it?
Yes,
yeah, listen to it.
Am I? Exciting. It's me and Wilson.
Oh, cool.
It's purely a wins over Wilson podcast.
Good.
It's called the Wow Show.
Wow.
Not the Friends with Benefits show. That's the after show, starring Will Brinson.
The Texans cut Marlon Mack, and someone was surprised, which now means that Dameon Pierce, their first-round pick, is likely a starter for them in Week 1. What do you think about that, Wilson? With the you're using your junior draft analyst mode to
yeah, Dameon Pierce had a great season in Florida, a really good Senior Bowl. There was a lot of buzz in Mobile, Alabama that week, and it's played out over the course of the preseason where he's been balling out. As Pete Prisco continuously warns folks, the preseason doesn't matter, but it's hard not to get excited about Dameon Pierce in the preseason because it feels like running back translates better than other positions in the preseason, whether you're playing against first, second, or third team or so. Clearly, the Texans felt the same way. I just turned in my picks. I don't know if I should give you guys an insight because I am the reigning champion. Who did the Texans play in Week 1? They play the Colts.
They're huge dogs.
I think Texans are going to cover that game.
Did we get an email with asking for our picks?
Yeah, +8 is what it sits at currently as we do this live.
Whew.
So Dameon Pierce and Long Neck Mills, I think, has something for the Colts who actually like to win the division.
Was it Brett who sent us the request?
No. Lucas Rodriguez is now taking over those duties.
Shout out Lucas.
Shout out Lucas.
Is it LUCAS or LUKAS for Lucas?
LUCAS.
You're not on the email, Brinson, so you're not doing picks.
Rodriguez.
I've got it. I did get it. I just don't. Sometimes it doesn't come to my main inbox.
He's on the email.
Yeah.
I see Brinson's name.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to forward it.
It says Will.
I've got the email, guys.
Why are you asking? Why are you quizzing us about it?
I missed it when it came in an hour ago. I was looking for Brett Anderson, not for Lucas.
Classic Brinson.
Yeah, but you understand. You get when you get a new email, it's bolded, so that's what you look for. You don't look for specific names.
Is this the first time this month you've answered an email, Brinson?
He hasn't answered it yet, so no.
Oh, so okay. Still O for the month.
You don't understand. Emails that are sent directly to me sometimes do not come to my direct inbox. I have to go look for them. It is
That's what I tell people about text messages when I don't want to answer them.
Yeah, you've told me that before. I know it's a lie because Brinson's trying to repeat it. Brinson literally said, I sometimes emails sent directly to me don't come directly to me.
They go to like my updates inbox or my promotions inbox.
Promotions. There's no such inbox.
You have the same inbox, bro.
I answer my emails. Guess how many unread emails I have right now?
4.
0.
Wow.
I had it down, but then I switched to the main thing so I would get the alert to my phone again. Whatever. Nobody cares about this. Let's move on.
Okay.
I have a lot of Dameon Pierce in fantasy. I think he's a good guy to have. I think the Texans will be forced to probably pass the ball a lot because have a lot of catches out of the backfield. They'll try to be conservative and run the ball. He's going to be the primary carrier. I like him as a sleeper in fantasy. Quarterback cuts that were made include the Vikings waiving Kellen Mond and Sean Mannion. I assume they're going to hope Mond clears waivers and they can put on the practice squad. Mannion, as I predicted on CBS Sports HQ, as you guys asked me on the podcast, was the likely loser.
I didn't ask you that, but thank you for putting it forth. The other loser, me, for being so high on Kellen Mond coming out.
Yeah, it was stupid. You know who's a winner? Mike Zimmer.
Why?
I'm getting like a bunch of like people retweeting.
He still hates Kirk Cousins. He's on the roster.
Mike Zimmer was asked, "Do you want to see Kellen Mond next week?" He said, "Not particularly." Back in January.
Wait, I don't get it. What does that mean? To start the game or something?
They're like, "Do you want to see what Kellen Mond can give you next week?"
Oh, right. Yeah.
Not particularly.
I remember that being frustrated because I wanted to see if Kellen Mond was any good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't great. That was they cut a bunch of third-round picks in that class too. Who else was in that class? Here it is. Let me look real quick.
Chaz Surratt,
Wyatt Davis. Wyatt Davis had an injury history coming to Ohio State. I don't know if that was part of the issue or not. Patrick Jones is still there out of Pitt, but Mon went one pick before Davis Mills. Although Kirk Cousins is the guy, so maybe Davis Mills obviously would still be on the roster, but maybe not getting a lot of play time in Minnesota. But still, to whiff on Mon, Surratt, and Davis with 3 first-round picks is not great. You want to play the who they should have taken instead game?
Yes, I love that game.
All right, so Kellen Mond was drafted with the 66th pick. Davis Mills is the obvious choice there. Anyone want anyone different than Davis Mills?
No, it's the very next pick.
Right, that's why.
Lee McNeil could be up there.
Okay, Lee McNeil at quarterback if you want or wherever. Chaz Surratt went 78th. At 78, you could have had. After that, you could have had. Yeah,
Tommy Brown.
He's done much. There's not a lot there.
Nico Collins.
Yeah, there's not a lot. So they didn't really miss out there. Hunter Long, I don't think he's done a whole lot either. Tommy Tremble. He's been battling injuries or no?
Who?
Tommy.
No, he had some touchdowns last year.
All right, maybe you go with Tommy, although they have Irv Smith. And then a few picks later, they had Wyatt Davis, Nico Collins, Trey Sermon. There's not a lot there. So Robert Hainsey is going to
this is a little less fun than the first round picks.
Yeah. So, all right. I won't crush them for this. There's no sort of home run guys at this point in the process.
I bet Mond clears waivers and they get him on the practice squad.
Still not great. 3 first-round picks.
Not ideal.
Maybe take 3 first-rounders and trade up. I don't know. All right. So not as bad as the Raiders, obviously, but not great. All right. What else we got?
Other quarterbacks cut. Josh Rosen waived by the Browns.
Just off the top of your head, how many times has Josh Rosen been cut? Is it? I'll set the over/under at 5.5.
I'll take the over.
Really? Is it over, Breech?
Oh, do you count trades?
Yeah, I'll take the under.
All right. How many
Cardinals, the Dolphins. That's 2. The Browns. That's 3.
The Browns.
He's been on the Buccaneers. He was on the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if we can find it real quick.
We can obviously find it real quick. Cardinals, Dolphins, Bucks, 49ers, Falcons, Browns.
Breech, you lost.
People always bring up.
This is where Breech argues. No, he was only cut on 5 of them. I think.
What's that, Devo?
People always bring up his Twitter because in the bio it says quarterback for the Browns, and his header image he's wearing a Dolphins shirt, and his profile image is from draft night when he got drafted by the Cardinals. So 3 teams represented right there.
That's amazing.
He's falling behind. He needs to get some 49ers in there. Needs to get some Falcons in there.
How could you go to your Twitter profile and update your bio and not change, like not be like, oh, there's like 50 dolphins in the background on my header.
How can you get cut?
Like I've had a beard for 6 years, but I don't have one in my profile.
That's the least of that man's worries.
I suppose so.
6 teams, unbelievable. Shout out to the odds maker who put up 5.5.
Yeah, it's a great job. The Bears waived Nathan Peterson. Whatever.
Wait, the Bears waived too? I'm sorry.
Nate Peterson.
Oh, right, yeah.
Peterman. 5 interception legend, Nate Peterman.
So remember, this is actually these two are actually relevant to our former colleague McBleeperson, Mick Bleep. Nathan Peterson. Remember how mad Sean got when the Bills benched Tyrod Taylor for Nathan Peterman.
That was infuriating.
He's like Sean McDonough should be fired. Sean McDermott should be fired. He's like, how do you think he's just a terrible coach if you think that? He couldn't get past it. And then Davis Webb, of course, from Cal, Sean once famously wrote a fluff piece about how good Davis Webb would be. He's not been that great.
Yeah, I was not happy with the Tyrod benching either because Peterman was not good, but I wouldn't go so far as to say that Sean McDermott wasn't good at his job. Just that was a weird flex.
Yeah, it was very bizarre. Broncos waived Josh Johnson. He's now seeking his 15th NFL team,
which I believe is an NFL record. I think he already has the NFL record.
He's trying to Tom Brady himself to break his own insane record of 14. Can you name all 14 teams?
Something about being named Josh is not great for your longevity as a quarterback in the on a particular team in the NFL.
Do you think you can name all 14 teams that Josh Johnson has been on?
I mean, if you just name a team, you almost have a 50-50 chance of
without getting one wrong.
Yeah, all right, let's start. Denver. Was he on football team?
Yes.
All right.
Remember, he and Mark Sanchez started games and he was on there. You know where he was drafted. I mean, that's an easy one.
I don't remember where he's drafted. The man was on 14 football teams. The Bengals?
I think he played for the Bengals. There's definitely a Bengals.
Right, you got 3 right so far.
He was. Okay. Was he on your Steelers, Ryan?
I don't think he
no.
He wasn't? Okay, good.
You're eliminated, Debo.
I was just asking Ryan a question.
You try to guess.
Boy, I'm getting nervous here. He was on the Bucs, wasn't he?
He was drafted by the Bucs. Same year they drafted Josh Freeman. They had Josh Freeman and Josh Johnson.
I get them mixed up because of that. That messes it up.
2005. No, 2008. Not 2008.
I do know that he played in.
All right, let's double.
The UFL because he was like
the only NFL teams. 14 NFL.
What?
All right, so let's see who else.
UFL.
Jeez. All right, I got to look at the. Okay, so Jets.
He was on the Jets, yes.
All right, that's 5 teams. I'm rolling.
Now, only practice squad with the Jets, but we're still going to.
I got one more that I'm 100% sure on, but after that, I'm not sure.
Okay, well, go. You got to keep going until one loses.
Yeah, well, I'll let Wilson go. Or do you want me to name mine?
If you know it for sure.
Yours, you alternate in name.
We'll team
the Browns.
The Browns are correct.
All right, so that's it.
6.
I know no other ones for 100%.
Okay, I'm going to guess Jaguars.
I think that would be a good guess, but you are eliminated. Breech,
dang it.
You have a chance. Breech, you have a chance to win. To steal, you can get one more.
What's it called when you win both showcases? You win them both.
Feel like.
Oh, dang it! I got one.
He had to have played for an AFC South team because all those teams were so bad. Yeah.
I got one.
It's not the Jags.
You wanna? Can I help Breech?
You can get back in it if you. We'll give you a chance before Breech goes. Joe, go, Breech. Go, Ryan. Go. You're free to go.
Colts.
Colts is correct.
Yes.
Ryan, you get a chance to get back in it. We're at 7 right now.
Panthers. He definitely played for the Panthers.
All right, Ryan, you are officially eliminated.
Again? He didn't play for the Panthers?
Did not play for the Panthers. Breech.
All right, I'm out.
Would you like to steal both showcases?
I already stole them. It's over. I'm done.
You gotta try
I can't go any further.
No, you got to try again.
Yeah, just pick a team, man.
We're at 7. Come on, grow up.
49ers.
I don't think so.
He actually played for the 49ers twice.
Yes. Could have been more wrong.
That's 8.
Right. 8 teams. Dang it.
There's still another.
No hints.
Did Ryan guess?
Ask the team. I'll tell you if I guessed it.
Did you guess the Jets?
Breech is looking at the Josh Johnson poster in his basement.
He's playing.
No, I'm trying to picture him. I'm looking up and picturing.
He's playing dumb, but looking.
I don't think you guessed the Jets. No,
I don't think I did either. I guess
I was on the Jets twice.
No, I guess the Panthers and the Jaguars with very much certainty on the latter or the former.
Well, I would have guessed Jacksonville, so I'm glad Ryan guessed them.
No Jags, no Panthers.
All right, I believe what we're missing here are the Ravens, Lions.
I would have never guessed the Lions.
Raiders.
Jeez,
Texans.
Oh no, because with the Raiders, he was teammates with Marshawn Lynch because they're cousins. That should have been
Giants and Bills.
Wouldn't have got the Bills.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good.
Pretty good we played some pretty terrible games today.
Yeah.
And the Sacramento Mountain Lions. That was my UFL
And the San
team.
Diego Fleet.
Oh, I don't even know what league they're in.
Some other notable cuts from today.
Real.
The Chiefs waived Josh Gordon. The Bills waived O.J. Howard. The Bucs released Tyler Johnson. The Dolphins cut Preston Johnson. The Vikings, we mentioned all their third rounders they cut. The Patriots cut those two tight ends they drafted in 2020, Devin Asiasi and Dalton Keene.
Both third rounders, by
Logan
the way.
Ryan, which one of those stands out to you the most?
Oh, wait. The Steelers traded for an offensive lineman whose name I don't remember. Where's Jesse Davis from? Is he a Dolphin?
Well, actually, we're actually going to do trades next. After
I know, I'm looking at that. I got ahead of the rundown. All these are surprising on some level. Josh Gordon, perhaps at least, because of just the things he's been going throughout the field. O.J. Howard feels like one that, how are you getting cut?
Former first-round pick, O.J. Howard.
Never worked out in Tampa. He had an injury, I think an ACL 1 year.
Yeah.
But it just never translated. Tyler Johnson.
And the Bills are willing to eat like $3 million.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tyler Johnson never really, like, he was an absolute star at Minnesota the year before Rashad Bateman became the star. Rashad Bateman might have been the better player in that team that final year, but he was a fourth-round pick. And I remember talking to a scout of the Senior Bowl that said, basically, the Tyler Johnson, you can dime a dozen type of player. Not in a bad way, but that's just reality. It just never sort of worked out.
The Bills are keeping Tommy Sweeney and Quentin Morris over O.J. Howard. That's pretty damning.
Breech, where are you at? How do you feel about the Titans cutting their punter of 13 years, Brett Kern, I believe?
I mean, I think it makes sense. I feel like having Ryan Stonehouse won the job, and they were about even in training camp or in the preseason.
Brinson, did you ever heard the name Ryan Stonehouse before seconds ago?
No.
You'd heard the name Ryan because your name's Ryan Wilson.
I had never heard of Mr. Stonehouse either, but congratulations to him. All right, go ahead.
Well, so they were about even in training camp, and I think the bottom line is if you have two guys who are even at punting, this isn't quarterback, that you're going to go with the guy who's cheaper. And
yeah, but is there anything because I saw this last year with the Steelers punter Presley Harvin, who had a big leg, but he struggled mightily. Who was the black guy that used to punt for the Raiders?
Marquette King.
He came in and punted when Harvin was out for a few games, and he was booming punts, and you're like, why wouldn't you just keep this guy? Is there any mental aspect to being a good punter?
Oh, absolutely. That's my thing. Why playing your first few games, and you might go out there. He might go out there and choke the first 3 games, and every Titans fan is going to be like, why didn't we keep Brett Kern? He's literally a 3-time Pro Bowler. So yeah, special teams mistakes are the ones you, as a coaching staff or as a team, might regret more because the fans recognize that right away. If you cut your kicker and you bring another kicker and he misses his first 5 field goal attempts, yeah, the fans notice that. If you bring another offensive lineman, he misses, 1 block in the first half, fans aren't going to notice that right away. So it's just, it's not an easy decision. And, the Broncos did the same thing. They cut Sam Martin, who actually was one of the top punters in the NFL last year. So we saw a lot of punters go down, but not Kevin Huber in Cincinnati, who beat out a young guy.
By the way, just kind of an interesting note. Mike Garoppolo just tweeted this out about Jimmy Garoppolo's renegotiated contract, which we discussed at length at the beginning of the show. He gets $500K, it's 6.5 million fully guaranteed base salary, $500K total in per game roster bonuses. So for every game he's active, he gets $29K, which is pretty good. $250K for each game he takes 25% or more of the offensive snaps. So if the 49ers are in a blowout, they could they could throw Jimmy a bone and put him in and like get him a quarter of the snaps and get him some cash. Another $100K for each of those games the team wins. $500K for one playoff game he takes 50% or more of the offensive snaps. $500K for 50% or more of the offensive snaps in the conference championship game. $500K if he wins the conference championship. $1 million if he takes 50% or more of the offensive snaps in the Super Bowl. No trade clause, no franchise tag clause.
Wow, the Cowboys cut Will Grier and Cooper Rush and Ben DiNucci. So currently,
only quarterback they have is Dak Prescott.
Prisco was talking about that on HQ. I saw that run through the Twitter machine. So that's interesting.
I think they're hoping Grier clears waivers and they bring him back. Maybe.
He will. I wouldn't.
They're hoping the Saints cut Andy Dalton so they can get him back.
I mean, that's a little risky, man. Remember when the Cowboys are back to having the worst backup quarterback situation in the league.
Well, they don't have one, so I think that qualifies for sure. Yeah, there are actually a lot of surprising. This cut down day feels filled with more surprises than in recent years, at least that I remember.
Last year was Cam Newton like early morning on cut day, and everything blew up after that.
Right? Yeah, Philip
Lindsay got
cut by the Colts. That's not huge, but that sort of sticks out. I mean, he was so good early on in his career out of nowhere for the Broncos.
It just seemed like a lot of minor surprises, Wilson. Like maybe not huge superstar names like Cam Newton, but like a lot of them, like, whoa, Duke Johnson, OJ Howard, Philip Lindsay.
Marquise Blair, the former first-round pick. Sonny Michel, former first-round pick now with the Dolphins. Most Sanu is older. Lynn Bowden, by the way, is another name in one of those Gruden drafts. They traded him during his first few weeks on the team. He's now in Miami, just got cut there. Kellen Mond, of course, doesn't make me feel great.
He really banged up about us.
Ian Book got cut. Interesting.
What?
So is it just two quarterbacks in New Orleans, or is there
Andrew Gregory Dalton?
Yeah. And is Taysom Hill? I wonder if he'll be listed as the number 3.
Dalton had a fantastic preseason. There's no way he was losing the backup job.
Okay, but I mean, Ian Book was a 4th rounder last year, so they got rid of him.
Well, the book is closed, Wilson.
That will not make Brady Quinn happy. All right, yeah, that's Chris Streveler didn't make the team for the Jets. He had a good preseason.
He also has a CFL title under his belt.
All right, what's next?
Some trades to wrap things up. The Panthers traded for, we mentioned Chauncey Gardner-Johnson traded to the Eagles. The Panthers traded for Laviska Shenault, which I like. I love Shenault.
Why do you like that? I was talking to your buddy Adam Gold about that because he obviously covers the Panthers.
I don't know. They were interested. They were just looking for another receiver. Just wanted to add to the room.
What have you seen from Laviska Shenault during his NFL career that gives you hope that he's going to be something better than J-Joe?
I mean, very dismissive from a guy who's just like shocked that Kellen Mond isn't good.
I love Laviska Shenault.
Up high, down hard.
What I'm finding out is that
Ian Book.
Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man.
I didn't like Ian Book.
He's got 2 years over 600 yards, Wilson. It's not like he hasn't done anything.
I mean, one of these years with Urban Meyer.
Yeah, Urban Meyer just torched the offense in the sense that, like he set on fire, so
I was
couldn't
surprised
function.
that Doug Peterson couldn't find a way to use Laviska, but.
Well, let me put it to you this way. Adam Gold asked me this question. Can he be a number 2?
In the NFL?
Not can he go number 2, dummy. Can he be a number 2 in his current job?
I think he can be a very nice very nice compliment to DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson.
Adam didn't think that Robbie Anderson was number 2 worthy.
Okay.
I don't disagree with that either. So
I'll bet you by this time next year he's out of the NFL, Brinson. I'll bet you a tattoo.
Oh.
I'll bet a shaved head.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, who's out of the NFL at this time next year?
Laviska should know.
God, like Diva knows anything about wide receivers. Freaking J-Jaw over there. Don't forget about Jay Rager.
Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man.
Brinson's
I
stalling.
think I'd have Jay Jaw's career at Laviska's at this point for his just a special team stud. And Shenault is just like a negative whenever he's been on the field.
He's not strong as a returner. He has not been good as a
You're
returner.
taking Jay Jaw's career over Laviska.
Take the bet then, Chatty Cathy.
My head over Laviska Shenault. I don't care that much.
There's no way Laviska Shenault's going to be out of the NFL after
Well, you
this
take
one.
You take the bet then.
Wait, so you'll get a tattoo if he's not out of the NFL next year?
You have to shave your head and get a tattoo.
What are you going to do?
You just got to do nothing.
One of the two.
Who gets to decide?
Well, that's not how bets work.
I
gotta do both, and you get to pick one.
All right, you pick.
I'm not taking this bet. I'm not
This
taking
is
this
a
bet.
crazy bet because there's no way Laviska Shenault's going to be out of the NFL.
I'll get
after
the
next
NFL.
Why won't you
All
take the bet then?
The offer's off the table.
Yeah. No
Oh, you had your Brinson. You pussed out on that one. Like I think that you had an opportunity.
You can say that, but okay.
You can say that. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I can't. Wilson, as someone who got a tattoo and a bet, can.
Okay.
That's not even a bad word.
What'd you say?
I said you wussed out.
I wussed out.
I said
I heard something else.
I said pust, but you can say wuss or pust. Either way, why didn't you take the bet? What were you worried about? Like literally,
I'm not shaving my head or getting a tattoo. Like,
but
what
to
if?
Breech's point, barring an alien abduction, I think the odds of Laviska Shenault being out of the league next year, they're like 12.5%.
Yeah, Debo made a mistake, and it was like so. It's like one of those. It's like so egregious. Like,
No, I
didn't
did
take
it because I knew you wouldn't say yes. I could say anything crazy, and you won't say yes to it.
That's true.
like I thought you were gonna be like, let's bet. You want to bet $10 on it, Debo?
Like,
No.
I bet you the Jaguars win the Super Bowl this year. You have to shave your head and get a chest tattoo. You won't take that.
Look at that. He's hesitating.
You won't take that, Brinson?
Well, what does Debo have to do if they don't win the Super Bowl?
Shave his head.
I'll shave WB into my head.
Oh, that's awesome.
No, shave an actual. Get a tattoo of a Jag.
Nice. Well, I don't even know what you're talking. What are you talking about? You said shave, and then you just midstream.
Yeah, I switched it to tattoo.
I think WB is pretty indicting.
Okay.
You have to get Brinson tattooed like in the no regrets. Like Brinson tattooed.
It
across
is funny how Brinson peacocks around and he's this great bettor, and he refuses to take the most obvious of easy bets.
I mean, like, what are the Jaguars? I'm not betting I have to shave my head and get a tattoo.
That Laviska Shenault one was a layup.
Yeah, out of the league. I just think I think the phrasing threw me. I was like,
Maybe you're bad at layups. Can you make layups?
I often find that when people like an egregious bet like that, it can throw me off a little bit.
I was hoping that Debo had some inside information, like
I was like,
retire
or
something.
If he'd been like he's down on the Panthers next year, that would have been.
What if you took that bet and then we got a tweet 10 minutes later saying Laviska Shenault has decided to retire instead of joining the Panthers? That would have been monumental.
I mean, that's sort of what I'm worried about, to be honest.
That would have been so good.
I mean, he got traded by the Jaguars, and no one else wanted him but the Panthers.
You were just talking him up. Why are you?
Maybe
all of a
he
sudden
had a
turning
no
on him?
trade clause except the cat teams. You don't know. You seen his contract?
All right, tell us all about Jesse Davis, Wilson.
And there was no way he was going to the Bengals. I just asked. He's a former Dolphin, right?
He was on the
think
Vikings and Ed Ingram.
Do you know David knows his horoscope sign and his entire life story was in the
Let him
Vikings?
talk then. He played on the Vikings. So what did he play?
I think there was expectations for him to stick around on the Vikings, but Ed Ingram, who probably would have been a first-round pick if not for some off-the-field issues, just really impressed. And I think that gave the Vikings the ability to kind of move on from Davis. But he started 72 games with the Dolphins over the past couple of years.
He's 30. He'll be 31 in a few weeks. Drafted by Seattle in 2015. Oh, or is he undrafted? Looks like he was undrafted in 2015. Okay. Look, man, at this point, beggars can't be choosers. His player grade in 2021, according to PFF, was 52.5. That's not encouraging until you look at the Steelers' grades. I don't know if we still have a PFF subscription through work. Hopefully we do.
We don't. It's been suspended.
Oh, is that true? That's too bad. Hopefully we can get back on that because I need to find out more about Jesse Davis. But hey, whatever, man. I'll take him. Golly,
What did it say? It said your account has been locked.
This offensive line for Pittsburgh is straight up doo-doo. I'm really concerned about it. So
What about
Jesse,
James Daniels?
He hasn't been as great as advertised, which is also a huge concern. They gave him a lot of money, and he struggled at times, maybe because he's being asked to block 5 people. I don't know. But
Yeah. Steelers are such a hard team to get a handle on because I feel like their defense looks pretty stacked.
the problem is if you can't
They're going to
score
have to win games. Yeah, 9-6.
Mr. Trubisky hasn't looked bad. Kenny Pickett makes it real. They've been fine. Najee Harris looked good. The wide receivers are going to be awesome, but they can't block anyone. And Mr. Trubisky, he was getting housed by the Jaguars front four and the Lions front four. Think about that. Two of the worst teams in football.
That's not good at all.
So welcome to the party, Jesse Davis. Imagine your season riding on acquiring Jesse Davis.
I don't want to imagine it.
The Titans cut Logan Woodside, only 2 quarterbacks left, and 4th-round pick Dez Fitzpatrick.
Oh gosh, that's the guy Pete loved last year coming out of Louisville. I said, Pete, I don't think I'm a huge Dez guy, so that's a win for me. I'll take it.
All right. Anything else?
Logan Woodside, fun fact, was drafted by the Bengals. There you go. That's all.
That is sure not fun.
No.
That was a great fact. That was actually the most fun fact we had.
Give me the least fun fact in the planet.
Logan Woodside was drafted by the Bengals.
You know you don't have an iPhone when you think that's what Siri sounds like.
Yeah, really. Yeah. It's like,
That's what Alexa sounds like.
Hey Siri, give me a thing. Logan Woodside was drafted by the Bengals.
Drafted by the Bengals, Logan Woodside was.
Oh my God.
This guy's a father. Can you believe that?
The kid loves Yoda voice.
You probably scare that poor girl half to death with that thing.
All right. That'll do it. Oh, actually, Paul in the chat noted that Trey White will start the season on the PUP list. Not great for the first 4
That
games.
sounds right, though. They have Benford, who's a fun rookie receiver, who's a 5th-round pick, I believe. And, of course, they have Kyrie Elam, who played well in the preseason. So that'll be fun to watch see how those rookies play. But you would clearly like to have Trey out there. But ACL injury, I think, was November. So that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I mean, they got the Rams in week 1, so that's tough.
Oh,
Dolphins.
That's
a
all.
lot of
wow.
receivers.
$400 for our Watch Pick Sticks backstage and ask mailbag questions on air.
The mailbags
Oh,
are so
you have till
popular.
next Monday to do it. Go click on scan the QR code in the top right. Top right or top left? Top right
That's top right. If you're
of
watching.
the screen that we are on right now.
Yes, top right.
I didn't know if it would like face the other way when we're on YouTube.
Yeah, unless you're inside our television. Look at that. What?
Ryan Wilson, $104. Am I
Nice, Breech. I am smoking you by 100
What?
pennies, I
Wilson's
believe.
ahead of me?
Oh, let's go. 2 days left.
Who did that?
Preseason call with me.
That doesn't seem right.
$121.
Watch the draft-a-thon tomorrow. Brinson will be on there for 2 hours, I think.
Crap, I got to do it tomorrow night, don't I?
I heard you didn't have to. Just go and play golf. Do whatever you want. Don't worry about
I
it.
can't play golf at 10:20 p.m.
You have the what's the
You can play Top Golf.
Thank you. That's what it's called.
Top Golf.
Got you there.
Here?
Dumb.
Man, I really hate you guys.
Why is AJ Dillon trending? Did something happen to him?
You don't want to know.
Okay, I won't ask then. I'll assume only.
You already
because.
asked.
It's
Well-
too late.
I won't re-ask.
Probably has to do with fantasy football.
That would
Or
make sense.
or maybe he tackled another mascot. Do you remember that?
No, I don't. I was looking at the Ravens cuts real quick to see if there are any names that stuck out to me. And there are, but I won't talk about them now. We'll talk about them later.
Okay. We good? We done? We done here?
Indeed.
All right. Breach, whatever you just sent in, is it important?
No.
It's AJ Dillon smoking.
Oh, this is
Mascot.
a baseball game. Okay. I
Oh
thought-
yeah, it's a baseball game.
Oh my
That's
God.
from-
Why?
from a
Why?
while ago.
Why would
No, this
that
is
mascot?
old. This is old, but it's hilarious.
Yeah. Why would that mascot
Wilson
be a
never
part of
saw
that?
it. I think you were in Italy when this.
Is this the same mascot that he now works for the Ravens and had to be taken off the field in a cart?
It is not a good summer for mascots. And yeah, poor Poe. Let's all prayers up for Poe. I think
How did he get hurt again? I only saw the after effects.
a youth football player awkwardly tackled him, or his knee buckled while he was trying to
Oh,
cut
man.
away from a youth football player in a mascot versus youth football player game.
And as Mina Kimes noted on Twitter, the funniest part was he didn't take his little helmet off while he was getting on the cart. He stayed in character the entire time, which was
Well, you know what's funny is they did an interview with the guy who got drilled by AJ Dillon. And like his whole thing, the mask came off for like a second. He grabbed it and put it back on before he even checked on himself to make sure he wasn't injured. And that was his whole thing. He's like, "You're a mascot. You got to keep the head on. That's it. You don't want to like give these little kids nightmares. And you might, your leg you might have broken your leg and it's dangling there. You keep the mask on."
hey, that's hardcore. Yeah, he probably wanted to make sure his head was still attached.
These
All right.
people love their craft, Ryan.
These
And
people,
they're
it's like
good at it.
Ross Perot. These people.
All right. Great show, guys. Really filling in the.
It's better to have the banter at the end of the show. That way, if people want to stop listening, boom.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's an old podcast trick that Brinson still has yet to learn. I'll do the terrible stuff up front and see how long people hang around.
All right. That's it for the show. For Wilson, for Breach, I'm Brinson. We'll see you